In this video, we're going to talk about how to improve your ankle mobility so that you can keep your heels on the ground in poses like Yogi Squat, Malasana, or even Skandasana, this kind of sideways ninja squat situation. What I see a lot and what people reach out to me a lot with, they go, Nat, my heels keep lifting up. I come down into the squat and somewhere along the way, I can't go any further and my heels pop up. But my yoga teacher keeps saying, put your heels down, put your heels down. How? That's what we're gonna get into right now. So when we look at poses like Malasana, squat, Skandasana, side squat, there's two major directions of movement happening, right? Two major openings. The hips, so we're moving into external rotation and flexion at the hip joint really deeply, and we're also moving into a really deep degree of ankle dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion is pulling your toes towards your face, right? So we're going into an extreme degree of that, yeah? And some of us just simply don't have the mobility. But why do we not have the mobility? A couple of things can be coming into play. The first thing that can be coming into play is simply the shape of your bones, the shape of the bones in your foot and in your ankle. And this is true of all of our joints and all of our body parts. Depending on how your body is built, there may be directions of movement that take you to a place where you have bone on bone. And if there's bone on bone, there's kind of nothing we can do to force it or to stretch it or to get past it. So for a small percentage of the population, not being able to go into a deep degree of ankle dorsiflexion is actually because of how your foot is built. In that case, practice acceptance, practice having your heels up and letting that be freaking okay, because it really is okay, right? For those of us who don't have bone on bone, and who just feel like this is just really tight, my heels pop up automatically, but I'm not entirely sure why. For most of us, it is a question of lacking in mobility in the ankle joint. Couple things that we can do to open this up. When we're talking about a lack of mobility in the ankle joint, we're probably talking about tension in the back of the lower leg. We might also be talking about tension in the shin muscles. Because if you're not able to fully contract your shin muscles to pull your toes towards your face, then they might restrict how far you can do this. For the most part though, it's the back of the calf. If this is tight, then it's going to restrict how far forward your knee can come over your toes. So one of my favorite ways to work on the backs of the calves is with myofascial release. Myofascial release is a practice of using massage balls and external tools on yourself to help improve mobility, reduce pain, and let your fascia glide more naturally over your tissues. Your fascia is a system of connective tissue that wraps around everything in your body, your blood vessels, your nerves, your muscles, your bones, your organs. And that fascia needs to glide. That's what allows us to move freely. And when we experience tension and restriction, it's that fascia is getting bound up and is sticking to itself and not allowing the muscles to glide properly. So MFR allows us to open that up supremely effectively. You'll take a block and a tennis ball. Put the tennis ball in, but a tennis ball is like the cheapest thing you can use. You can also use like a proper massage ball made for this purpose. Yeah, you'll put that on your block, and then you're gonna find the belly of your calf, right? So it's hard to see because my wall is black, but you can sort of tell that behind my ankle, I have like the skinny part of my ankle, and then it sort of goes into this little bulbous back of the calf muscle right here. We wanna put the ball right at the junction between the skinny part of your ankle and the belly of your calf. We're gonna start right there. So you're gonna place the ball right there and then put the ball on your block. Okay, now here, the more you lean forward with your torso, the more intense this is gonna be, the more pressure you're gonna have on the ball. If you lean back and even prop yourself up with your hands, you'll have less tension and less sensation. You wanna be at a place where you can breathe, but a place where you feel something. Okay, so you might arrive here and immediately be like, oh my God. If that's the case, that is information. That's your body going, I need help. There is some really bound up shit right here, okay? If your body, you get here and you're like, I don't feel anything, then it's entirely possible that tight calves are not your problem. But before you make that decision, point your toes and then flex your toes. And you flex your whole foot, I should say. Point your foot and then dorsiflex it. Yeah, and somewhere along the way, you might find something that makes you squirm a little. Pause, take breaths into it. When you feel like something has released and you've had an impact, then you move. Okay, so we'll take a few minutes here, and then you're gonna slide up your calf. Now you're gonna go right to the belly of the muscle, right? We saw that like bulbous part of the muscle that was hanging down. We're gonna go right in the middle of that now. Okay, so you can pause there and hang out for a bit and just see what you feel. You don't wanna bring the ball directly behind your knee. There's a lot of nerves that collect there, and if we put pressure directly on nerves for an extended period of time, we can put them to sleep, so don't do that. Okay, so you can hang there in the middle of the calf. Then take it a little bit to the outside of the calf, all right? You're gonna bring the ball to this outer edge and even externally rotate your leg so your toes are pointing outwards and you're really working on that side of the calf. Take a few breaths there, and then you can do the same thing working on the inside of the calf, right? Turn your leg inwards, internal rotation, and work on the inner part of the calf. Okay, when I say work on, stay for a couple of minutes, breathe into it. It's supremely boring if I show it all to you right now, but this is where you get to be a detective and you get to play with your own body. And the last thing we can do here is go down towards the Achilles tendon. The Achilles tendon is an extremely thick band of tissue that goes all the way down and connects at the bottom of your foot. And getting to it right here behind the ankle can be helpful. So one cool way to know if this actually made any difference is do only one leg. Take a few minutes to release, and then you're gonna try it out in your body and go, did that make a difference? So you can come to your squat, come down as low as you can, the spot where your heels would normally lift, and you might find that one heel wants to lift, but the other one is actually staying down a little bit longer. That would be a win, right? Even if you haven't opened it up all the way to the floor, if we've just increased it by a little bit, that's a win, and that tells you do more of that. Okay, so MFR, super helpful way to open up the backs of your calves. There is another way, okay? The thing with MFR is it's gonna be great to release tension, but it's not great to create mobility. Mobility is gonna be a combination of strength and flexibility. It means you can take a joint through its full range of motion without getting stuck anywhere and not being able to get back up, right? So when a joint is mobile, it needs to be able to go to its full range and come back from its full range. And that involves both stretching, lengthening, and contracting or strengthening. So for a lot of us, our ankles are not mobile, right? We stand, we sit, and that's it. And our ankles kind of stay at this 90-degree angle of your foot on the floor, okay? But what happens if we want to give ourselves more range of motion? We train that in the way that creates some strength. My head is going to disappear when I stand up, but hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, you're gonna stand up on 2 blocks, 1 block under each foot, and make sure you have just your toes in the middle of your foot on the block. Your heels should hang off of your block. Now here, you're gonna let your heels drop down, down, down. How low can your heels go? Yeah, press them down. We're lengthening the back of the calf here. You might even feel a stretch. I feel a mega stretch. Take a breath in. And then on the effort, on the breath out, rise up onto your tippy toes as high as you can and contract the backs of your calves. Here's the strength, right? We're going completely in the opposite direction of this range of motion. Now drop your heels again. Go low, 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 low. How low can you go? Maybe bounce a few times. And then use the strength of the muscles of the backs of the calves to back up. Yeah, and you'll do that a few times. Drop them low and lift them high. And one more time, you drop them low. And then you lift them high. And maybe you do a few lifts at the top and then release. Right? So doing this a few times a week, every day if you can, is going to mobilize your ankles. We're gonna open and strengthen the backs of the calves, combine it with some MFR, and you can really increase the degree of ankle dorsiflexion that you have really quickly. The last thing I wanna leave you with is it is perfectly, beautifully fine to let your body be where it is. If your heels pop up, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just giving you information about what you get to work on next. but it doesn't mean that you need to beat yourself up. It doesn't mean that you can't do the pose. It doesn't mean that you need to go home and leave yoga. Not at all. How do we help ourselves with where we're at, right? If your body is in a place where the heels are coming up, you're gonna work on it. Now you know what to do, but in the meantime, you have two options. You can hang out with your heels up, and when your yoga teacher comes to yell at you to get your heels down, you can be like, thanks, I'm working on it, okay? Or you can prop up your heels, okay? And propping up your heels with a folded blanket, a folded towel, or something like that is gonna allow you to be able to let your body weight rest on those heels, and it's gonna move the stretch more into your hips, right? We can use these poses for two things. We can use it for hip mobility, and we can use it for ankle mobility, or we can use it for both. And if you're missing some ankle mobility, go ahead and prop yourself up and use these poses for the benefits to the hips. And then you can work on the ankle mobility separately with your props, with your MFR, with your heel lifts, or with whatever you choose to do. So what I want you to hear is don't disqualify yourself from poses. Understand why something is happening in your body. Figure out what you can do quickly and effectively to open that up for yourself. And equip yourself with the education and the knowledge to enjoy your practice and to be able to pick it apart. If you enjoy this kind of step-by-step breakdown, I do a lot of this inside my no bullshit yoga pose library. Check out the link below in the description, or simply type no BS in the comments and I'll shoot you the link to check it out. I'll see you in the next video.